Well, today we're in beautiful Alaska.
Hash brown? Oh, hash brown, really?
We're in Skagway, Alaska today. And it's known for Gold Rush. And we're going to walk around. We're going to take a hike and we're going to walk around the town. Nice day.
Some of the random things you might find in Skagway attached to the hood of a truck. A unicorn. We are in the Skagway Cemetery. A lot of these people passed the late 1800s or early 1900s. That's awesome. Woo! Worth the hike, which is basically nothing, the walk.
Nothing but a trickly waterfall. It's just like Dylan, everybody.
We're here on a trip and we've had to fly, so we've had to go through lots of different checkpoints, and we're doing a cruise. So we had to be, in an area where basically you can't have any bladed instruments, but I still wanted to be kind of my, signature thing around here, stay equipped and stay prepared. So I was thinking to myself, what can I do to have a multi-tool with me that doesn't have a blade on it so I can have it through the airports, on the plane, and on the ships without having to check it and do all that type of stuff. And most ships don't allow any sort of blades whatsoever, even in checked luggage. So what we're going to be looking at here today is the Gerber MP600 bladeless. This is based off of one of their other very similar Flick models. And what we have here is a multi-tool with all the normal functions you would get in a Gerber multi-tool, USA made, which is also a plus, but it doesn't have any blades on it except for a little tiny pair of scissors. I've made it all the way here to Alaska, through multiple ports, multiple checkpoints, and carried it on through all the different places on the plane without any sort of problems whatsoever. A few people have wanted to check it out, look at it, make sure it doesn't have any blades on it, but once they see what it is, they're totally cool with me carrying it everywhere and anywhere. And it's awesome to have a feeling and knowing that you have a really solid multi-tool with you. So today, we're gonna take a look at this item, show you what it has to offer, and by the end of it, hopefully you'll know whether or not the Gerber MP600 is gonna be the right multi-tool for you when you can't have a blade with you. All right, folks, we're gonna be hopping back and forth between Alaska and the home after having gotten back. This is months, I'm filming this shot, months after having been on that Alaskan cruise. So we'll be hopping back and forth between Alaska and the home throughout this video. So I'll just give you some basic specs here and then we'll hop back into our trek in Alaska. But what we're looking at here is a USA made, says it right there, stamped in, love that. USA made Gerber. And what we're looking at is the materials is 420 high carbon. Gerber does a good job with that type of steel. It's a budget steel, but when done properly, it's very durable. Leatherman uses that on all of their multi-tools, and Gerber has used that with many of their fixed blades, and I've seen good performance out of the 420 for what 420 is. So what we're looking at here is a weight without the nylon sheath that we'll be looking at a little bit later of 7.9 ounces on the weight for this multi-tool. We're looking at a length from back to front of 5.1 inches, a height of 1.25 inches, and a thickness of 0.75 inches. Those are just a few of the basic specs. Want to give you price point as well. The price point on this thing is $45, which I think is very reasonable for all the tools that you're getting, the USA made materials, and just even the option of the bladeless. There aren't a lot of full-size bladeless multi-tools out there on the market. So all those things for under $50 I think is a great value. I like that price point. No complaints at all with that price point. We got this black coating, I forgot to mention that. Black coating as well that has not really worn off or nicked and hasn't really gunked up my hands either, which is really nice. And finally, I just want to run in one of my favorite multi-tools to date is the Leatherman rebar, just for some size perspective here. When you run it up next to each other, they're about the same thickness and width. The Gerber is just going to be a little bit longer, basically having those needle nose portions sticking up a little higher than the rebar, so that is something to note. So guys, with all that being said, let's hop back out to Alaska, show you some of these tools that are on this, and hopefully you'll be able to decide whether or not this is going to be the right multi-tool for you. All right guys, wanted to show you how the pliers open up. This is one of the main features of this set of pliers and a lot of other Gerber pliers as well, multi-tools, is that the pliers are inside the handle, so the handle will not open in this capacity, and it runs along these little tracks right here, the pliers do. And so what you do is you just kind of flick it and it'll get it open. You hear it lock, boom. Now the pliers are out, you're ready to use it. And then you have these little buttons on either side, the center buttons. You push those in, one-handed you can get it back into place, and then that locks it back into place. Again, you flick it. Usually you can get it with one. I mean, I've had about 2 weeks of use with this. It was really stiff when I got it. I had to really flick it open and close a lot to get it nice and smooth, but now it works pretty well. There we go. So you just gotta kind of get a good kind of wrist flick when you do it, and then you push the buttons and it slides back into place. So, you know, it's an interesting feature. Leatherman has kind of copied it to my knowledge now with one of their other models that we will be reviewing soon. I may even run it in just to kind of show you at the end of the video. You know, it's an interesting feature. It doesn't sell the Leatherman or the Gerber to me. You know, I'm not like, oh my gosh, you got to get this because of the flicking motion. I mean, it's fast. It makes it, you know, quick to deploy, one-handed basically, which is, you know, nice. It means that there's stuff to get gunked up and jam up with sand or grit, you know, dirt if you drop it a lot and you're in a really kind of dirty environment. I could see it kind of gunking up on you. But, you know, it seems to be pretty solid. I wouldn't have any complaints, you know, with the strength or integrity of that feature. It's an interesting feature to have and nice, you know, for one-handed deployment, but nothing that like blows me away and, oh man, you got to get this. This is way better than a two-handed deployment. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the pliers on the 600. Now you got good needle nose pliers here. They're going to be able to get into pretty precise areas, do more precise tasks, you know, pull wire out of a pipe, something like that. Then you got really good teeth along here, and these heads are 420, and then you have the replaceable teeth, and I really like that a lot. And these replaceable teeth have done a great job cutting through all kinds of wire, regardless if it was 12 gauge, you know, copper wiring, stripping that, as well as just galvanized wire, you know, baling wire, that type of stuff. No damage whatsoever. And again, if you ever do get up against something that you know, a little too aggressive and you damage the teeth, you can easily unscrew them, purchase the spares, and swap it out. You don't have to go back and get a whole new multi-tool. On the back side as well, back in here, they do have one of those options to grab wire and pull, like a wire puller. So they do offer that as well as an option on the back side. And again, just slides nicely into place. All right, let's look at the carry options real quick here on the multi-tool. They give you this very simple nylon sheath, says Gerber on the front. You get a belt loop back here that is two-staged. I don't really know why they did that. There's one belt loop there and then a secondary one down here. I don't know why that happened unless you want to ride it real high for some reason. I've used this a lot, you know, carried this for several months. I think 6 months now is how long I've had this, used this sheath consistently through all that. Haven't seen any sort of fraying, wearing whatsoever. So good, very durable. You got a big, you know, piece of Velcro right there, and then you're able to pull out the multi-tool, put it back in, no problem, nice and slim, so it's not going to be all bulky. The one thing I would note is that I would like to see in the future possibly the option for a pocket clip. I think that this is just compact enough that with you know, a large pocket, you could easily put this in there with a pocket clip attached to the multi-tool itself, so then you wouldn't need the sheath. So maybe in the future Gerber will offer that as an option like what Leatherman does with a lot of their tools. But as it stands right now, if you want to carry this, you're either going to throw it in your pocket like you see right here, or you're going to use the little sheath, which is very doable and gets the job done for this Gerber MP600 bladeless. All right, so I want to show you the locking mechanism for all the tools that we have here on this multi-tool. So what you have is this little plastic lever. You can see there has an arrow with a locking symbol. It's in the lock position right now and it's spring loaded, as you can see there, so it runs back and forth. And basically how this operates is that when you pull a tool out, you can see how it's moving here, back here. It'll click into place, and now that's locked it into place and it's not going to collapse. So it's like a lock back system basically, and it's strong, durable. I haven't had any of these tools collapse on me or this disengage without me wanting to disengage it. So then when I'm done using my tool and I'm ready to disengage it, collapse it back into the handle, all I have to do is use my thumb, slide it back, disengage the lock, bam, springs it back into place. So that's real nice. Just kind of show you how it works. I'm going to open up all these here on this one side. You can see here that we got this little lever with that spring in there, and you can see it moving. That is the locking system. So basically it's a plastic piece on the outside screwed into this steel lock back system there that's going to lock back, and that operates on either side of the multi-tool for all of the tools. So you're not going to worry about any of these tools accidentally collapsing while you're using them and hurting yourself, or just disengaging without disengaging the locking system, which is really nice. All right, guys, I wanted to show you the screwdriver bits on the one side here. What you have are 3 different types of flatheads. You're going to get different sizes as well as different thicknesses. They're all pretty strong so that you are able to pop, like paint cans and those type of things and get some good torque on them, and they're not going to snap and break on you. I've had good success with them doing all sorts of different, not only light prying, but also, obviously using them as flathead screwdrivers. The other portion is that you get a bottle cap opener right here that you can easily use. You close those other 2, and you pop the top off your soda cans or beer or whatever you might be needing to pop the top off. And these are all like all the mechanisms, use this lock back kind of slider design. So when it's out, it is locked into place. Then when I'm ready to close it up, I move the lock back, put it back into place. So the other 2 portions here on that same side that we just looked at, those 2 screwdrivers, is it also offers you a nice pair of scissors that are spring loaded. You got probably about 1 inch on the actual blades that will do, minor cutting. I was able to do some cutting of paracord with only a few, pushes of the scissors. So that's good. You'll be able to cut paper, cut some cardboard if you had to, medical supplies, those type of things. So it's good that it does have that pair of scissors on there that is spring loaded, and then a nice, very generous sized file that does have filing of different courses on either side that is easily able to be pulled out and used when you are in need of doing, some filing and going through steel or, wood or whatever you're needing to use that, or, grooming your nails, whatever it may be on your trips that you might need a file for. It definitely does give you a very generous, good size file on the Gerber. All right, so on the opposite side of the multi-tool from the flatheads and the file are these 3 other tools that we're going to look at here. The first 2 are pretty simple. The third one we're going to take a little bit more time on. First one's a Phillips head screwdriver. Works great, does a great job getting into most of those Phillips heads that you'd find around the house or around the workplace. They give you a can opener. Now the thing to note is that the can opener is not very sharp, so you're really going to have to press hard, and I think that's because, again, of the bladeless idea. They don't want somebody saying, oh, that's a blade, you can't have this. So this is kind of dull right here, that can opener. And then finally over here we have a Rem grit saw that we're going to take a look at here and just kind of show you what that has to offer you. And those are the 3 tools that you're going to get on the opposite side of this MP600. All right, folks, I want to show you here this Rem grit saw. Now, this is a very interesting feature because, again, we don't have a knife, and this is normally on the normal MP600s. This is where you would be finding your blade, but because this is blade-less, they decided to put a Rem grit saw on this. And I've never had a run-in with a Rem grit saw before, but basically what you're looking at here is a really small, compact one. I'll be containing in the actual length. I believe it's about 2.5 on the quote-unquote blade length of this Rem grit saw, but it's basically just a piece of steel that they've super glued, if you will, what a Rem grit saw is, and with really heavy duty grit sandpaper, if you will. That's the only way I can really describe it for those of you who have never used one before. And I really wasn't expecting a lot out of it, but it will go through many materials, not only wood. I did hardened 4x4 that was around my house that's been treated, and it actually cut through and made a notch in it real fast. I was really impressed with that. I've done some small limbs, and you can easily cut through limbs of trees, and you can do lightweight steels and thin steels as well, like aluminum and those type of things, as well as even some garden plastic. Now, it wasn't very clean. It's not going to give you very clean cuts in the sense of like man-made materials necessarily, because it's kind of gritty, but it will get the job done, which is very impressive. And the cool thing is, if this ever wears out, or if you're just in an environment or TSA or whoever's hassling you about this for some reason, the great thing is that they have took that into consideration, and you can easily remove that. It's got this little locking system in here. You just kind of pull this out a little bit here. If I can do it for you on camera, it's easy always. It's way easier to do it not on camera. But basically, if you lift that out, the blade slides out no problem, which is real nice. And so you could take that out and give it to somebody, or even give it to the TSA or to your boss if they were really hassling you about it. Or if it wears out, and then you can purchase some more. And then when you're ready to put it back in, all you have to do, slide it back in, you're locked into place there. So just another little feature that is not necessarily a saw, and it's not necessarily a knife, but it's going to give you a lot of cutting capabilities that maybe your scissors couldn't complete on this bladeless tool. Well, folks, it's time for us to bring this MP600 bladeless review to a close. You've seen what it has to offer, and after having used this, for my entire Alaska trip, made it back safe and sound, never had any problems with TSA, even though they looked at it multiple times, as well as, the cruise security when we're doing the Alaska cruise, all that stuff. I think that this definitely has a potential for those of you who either travel a lot and you don't want to have to constantly be thinking about where's my multi-tool at, and you're looking for a multi-tool. This has the capability that you can just carry it on you all the time, regardless if you're in and out of airports, in and out of places that don't allow blades, and it's going to give you a lot of tools to be able to do a lot of tasks, and it's very tough and durable from all the tasks that I have seen and that I've put it through. Your mileage may vary, but through my average everyday EDC, if you will, usage of this multi-tool, I've been very impressed and very pleased with the overall tools that they offer you. There's really nothing that that I could say, well, I wish that they would add something to this. And you can get this with a blade as well. If you like everything else about this multi-tool, but you want a blade on it, they do offer this exact same version just with a blade as well. So overall, guys, if you're looking for that full-size multi-tool and you want it to be bladeless, regardless if it's the work environment, travel, whatever, I think this is a fantastic option, great price point, great tools, and I would highly recommend it to you. And it is going to be able to make it through all the TSA as well as all the other travel restrictions that you may encounter according to my mileage and everything that I've experienced. So guys, ultimately Gerber's done a great job. I'd love to see some other multi-tools out there do that as well. I'd love to see Leatherman come out with a full-size bladeless multi-tool. I think would be awesome. I'm not really seeing that right now, and hopefully in the future they'll offer that for those of us who do travel or live in areas or work in environments that need that option for our tools. So with all that being said, I hope that this MP600 bladeless review has helped you out with your purchasing decisions. As always, check us out on all the relevant social media. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video, and as always, remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.